2, 1. From Boston, Massachusetts to Adelaide, Australia, and everywhere in between. Talking local and national sports and just about anything discussed in a tavern. Broadcasting from South Lyon, Michigan. Welcome to Easy Speak at Speakeasy 330 with your hosts, Rich and Tom.
Howdy, partner.
Hey, neighbor.
What's going on?
Well, just a lonely night over here in the Speakeasy. Somebody had a late one.
Yeah, late basketball game. It was a barn burner. It was, I want to say the score was 14-10, I think. Yeah, 14-10. It's a good game. No,
What side did they end up on?
The losing side. It seems like it's a.
How many times did Ryan? How many times did Ryan hit the deck?
Once, but it was a great save. I mean, it was
okay.
and it ended up being a break where they went down and actually scored a couple points out of it. So it was worth it.
That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, recap for this weekend. Friday. Ooh, wow, Friday. What a night. Had a little Friendsgiving going on Friday night.
Well, I'm sure people that know us have seen pictures, and let's just say we tend to have a really good time in here at the Speakeasy. Music was going, and whole lot of crazy white people dancing, and good food. Of course, Rich brought it down again with his cooking skills, and yeah, we had a really great time.
Yeah, good time.
Definitely
a lot of good.
One for the memory books, that's for sure. So if you haven't partaken in one of our little gatherings, you should do so because you won't be disappointed.
So Friday was a rough night for some, not me, but it was rough for some, which kind of filtered into Saturday where everybody was kind of relaxed a little bit. But I will say on Friday we watched the most exciting high school football game I think in my lifetime I've ever seen. Chelsea coming back to win against Hudsonville, Lutheran, I think it was.
United. 52. Yeah, that was incredible. So there was probably a good 20-something of us in here. Every single one of us glued on that game. I mean, they came back from 3 touchdowns to tie it there with 1 second to go. They're going for the field goal, and what an unbelievable job by not only the kicker but the holder to get that ball up so they could make that field goal. It's just an awesome win for Chelsea. I can only imagine what those kids feel like in Hudsonville, had their hearts ripped out, but that's a hell of a football team.
Yeah, that was a good game, which then kind of turned into another great football game on Saturday at noon at the Big House. Michigan came to play. They played well. Fundamentally sound football, and mistake free. Everybody would say that McNamara was his interception was a mistake, but they got the ball back. They did not surrender up any points. There's no points on a turnover. So my personal opinion, it was a very clean game. He made the throws when he had to make the throws. When he really needed to get it, he got it. But then you had to feed the machine, and that's Hassan Haskins. You had to feed the machine, and that's exactly what they did. And Ohio State just didn't have an answer for him.
What was interesting was Cade had 4 pass attempts in the second half. That just shows you how dominating they were on the ground. And he was, 11 for 20? On the stat sheet, you're not going to get too excited about that. But when he needed to make a big play, he was able to. There was a couple plays in the first half. They needed it. And he went downfield on a couple nice long pass plays, and he got it. And he's as the season's progressed, he's turned into, you know what, an efficient quarterback. He's been very serviceable. And is that his maybe feeling a little bit of pressure with J.J. McCarthy, nipping at his heels and getting some playing time? But he's
I don't
definitely
think
evolved.
so.
He's evolved.
I don't think I don't think that. Yeah, I think that's not even in his. He's probably had those talks, and I'm sure he's probably been told, "Hey, look, this is your team. We're going to use JJ when we feel fit for us to use him in certain situations. No need to worry. This is your offense. This is your position to lose."
Mm-hmm.
And two of the most amazing statistics from that second half of that game was one. I think Michigan only had one or two third downs total.
Yep.
And
no punts.
Aiden Hutchinson, 15 pressures and 3 sacks.
He went from, I know pregame, I think it was Charles Woodson was commenting that, he'd be in his top 4 going to New York for the Heisman. And Matt Leinart tweeted yesterday that he kind of laughed at it, but being able to sit there and watch the way he played, the dominating performance, he was impressed enough to say that he deserved to be in the conversation. So he went from nobody talking about him to, you know what, there might be a legitimate chance that he could at least get an invite to New York. And I mean, why not? I mean, you look back at Young, who played Chase Young in Ohio State, and you go back to Ndamukong Suh. There's been some big time defensive players that have been invited to New York. So you look at 3 sacks. He took over the lead school record. They didn't have an answer for him at all. I mean, they just could not contain him. He was bowling over the left tackle, who's a projected first round draft pick in this next year's draft. He made him look like a high school kid. So impressive what he was able to do.
Yeah, and when you look at the Heisman, the Heisman is normally an offensive, it's an offensive category for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it traditionally speaking, but then when you think about it, in my opinion, as a Heisman should be somebody who makes a difference on the team, a difference maker. And Aiden Hutchinson is a difference maker on that team. Granted, he's also got another great line mate with him there on the other side,
David Obajo.
Which, and with those two paired together, it was kind of one of those things where they kind of feed off each other, but they also they make it hard for teams to defend against.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it very hard for them to put forth a plan to where, all right, we're going to be, if we shut this guy down, then we should be good. But the problem is you got to try to shut both down, and you can't. We got a couple comments here. One is Haskins for Heisman. He's not going to get that nod, but it's not. I don't disagree that he is a difference maker of a player.
Yeah.
And then another one here comes in and says number 26 and 78 were complete train wrecks. Yeah. And the thing is that you look at the game, and as Michigan fans through and through, and both college football enthusiasts, we could sit here and say that Michigan definitely really had a flawless game, but you still got guys who are Ohio State slappies.
Mm-hmm.
They will not give credit where credit is due. They will continue to say that Ryan Day made poor choices with the play calling and everything like that. And it's like, you know what?
Hey,
you guys, you guys took some lumps. Own up to it.
How do you call a good game when you've shut down the run game? You've got C.J. Stroud running for his life almost every time he drops back. And really the only plays that they had were, let's face it, they've got the best receiver core in the country. Those guys
God,
made
yeah,
some
they do.
unbelievable catches, and it was good coverage. So how you game plan during the game, you when just nothing is working. Michigan had great Ross at linebacker. He was coming in and getting behind the line of scrimmage. Dax Hill was all over the field. I forget who the freshman kid, Herndon, I think his name is. True freshman, secondary. He was all over the field. I mean, ever since the Michigan State game, Michigan knew their destiny was in their own hands, and they knew what they had to do to possibly get to where they're going to be Saturday. And it was just all about execution. And the last 4 weeks is proof that Harbaugh brought the right guys in to coach these players up. They got the message. They understood the assignment. And they went out there, and each week they got stronger and stronger. Yeah.
I know the assignment.
Yeah. And then it was a culmination on Saturday. And you know what? I listening today, there's a lot of people out there that said, you know what? They could possibly run on the same field as Georgia. I'm not getting too ahead of myself with that. I want to get past Saturday first, but when you have a defense like that, you know what? You're going to make stop for stop. All you got to do is don't make mistakes on the offensive side of the ball. They've got a good chance, and I think they've got as good of a chance as any Big Ten team has since the college football playoff has started.
Yeah, and so one of the comments you were kind of searching for the name Rod Moore, the true freshman safety.
Yeah, that's it.
The one
Let me
that you
get
were
JP.
talking about.
Yeah, I figured
JP.
he would be all over it. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, JP chimed in on that, but it's one of those things is they really elevated their game. I think a lot of it goes towards the motivation and in our pre-show conversations and our conversations leading up to the game, we were always talking about, hey, Michigan needs to use this as fuel. So the fuel meaning that, I'm gonna hang 100 on you and shit like that. Then whatever. Since we're talking about Michigan right now, we got a Michigan man that wants to hop on right now, and so he's coming from the job. Hey, what's up, JD? How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, guys?
The friendly confines.
Are you guys as elated and as excited as me still today?
Oh,
yes, exactly.
It was nice turning on the local Spartan radio guy, Mike Valeni, and basically he had to swallow his pride to admit this is a good team.
Can I drop a bomb on you guys really quick?
Drop
Brian Kelly to LSU.
Yeah, we were talking about
that before the show started.
About that. Yep.
Yeah. What is going on?
LSU must have low expectations.
Yeah. I'm hearing Gaddis may be to Virginia Tech too.
Well, I don't like that.
After the run, but we'll see. We got Weiss.
Yeah.
We got Matt Weiss waiting in the wing. Yeah. So he'll be the next OC if that happens.
Yeah, but it's you look at the coaching changes that they made in the offseason and specifically Mike McDonald. I mean, this defense has a swagger. I think the whole team has a swagger that maybe we didn't see it earlier in the season, but as the season progressed, and I think after blowing that lead in Michigan State, they had a hunger. There was a fire started that, to me, ever since that game, this is a different team, and it's been fun to watch. And I think we were sitting in here Saturday. 15 points isn't enough. 15 isn't enough. And Ohio State goes and scores, and they didn't have any fear. Michigan just went down and pound the rock. And it was.
Hey, hold on. Is Rod Marinelli on the feed right now?
Pound
the rock.
Pad level.
Pound.
Pounds, baby, pounds.
We're talking. Well, Mike McDonald, you give all the props to, but Sharon Moore, the way he's got that offensive line playing,
right? Oh yeah,
that was the biggest upgrade of the year. A guy that was already on staff, But the way those offensive linemen and those tight ends blocked, had that not happened, we might not be sitting here having the same conversation right now.
Well, I know we were talking Saturday. Eric All put together himself an NFL showcase tape Saturday.
He might come out this year.
Just his blocking ability. That lead blocking he had on Haskins' second touchdown.
Yeah.
Where he just split the defenders. I mean,
how he developed as a receiver also.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of the year, it's going to be interesting to see who sticks around and who leaves.
Well, I think that all depends on where they finish.
Yeah.
If they get to the championship game and they fall just short, I think some guys are going to want to come back and finish off. But
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, it's exciting. It's seeing the ads come up for the Big Ten championship and seeing Michigan on the crawl. Like, man,
part of me is wanting to be an adult and hold on to my dollars, but I think I have to go this weekend. I don't know how I can miss this.
I was watching TikTok earlier, and a guy preseason put $1,000 on Michigan to win the Big Ten championship. Ooh. And it was what was it, 140 to 1 or something like that? The odds, and yeah,
so he's going to get paid.
He's going to get a nice little payday for that if they win. What's the line up to now? 10.5.
10.5. Yep.
Yeah.
Michigan minus 470 money line.
Oh, we got a comment in here right now from Derek saying Rich Rod coach at Jacksonville State.
Yes, he did.
Isn't that where was he OC at?
I think he was doing his son's college team. It was FCS or maybe a lower level.
He left Louisiana Monroe.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting another shot. How about Lincoln Riley's deal?
Man. Well, he did shoot down the LSU in the press conference, but he forgot USC.
He didn't lie. He said
he didn't lie about
LSU. That. That's why he said next question.
Yeah, you know what though? He, I think he got out because he didn't want to catch any of that SEC smoke because it's going to be a rough couple years for Oklahoma in the SEC.
So what happens with Oklahoma now, and what happens with Notre Dame?
Spencer Rattler just hit the transfer portal, and they're expecting Williams, the freshman quarterback that he's had. They're expecting him to transfer to USC.
Well, they've lost a ton of recruits today. They're 5-star quarterbacks that just decommitted.
Yep.
So they're going to be in big trouble, whoever they get.
Wow. You look at USC or Notre Dame, you thought maybe PJ Fleck would be in the mix in the run for that, but they locked him up at Minnesota. So,
yeah.
A lot of big names.
Absolutely.
All right, JP, before we hang up with you and everything like that, so on Tuesday, where do you see tomorrow? Where do you see Michigan ranking at?
It's got to be 2. Yeah. I think all goes well. I think they'll win Saturday, and then I think that they'll play Cincinnati round 1, which I think they can also win. And then, but the trick here, though, man, is a lot of people are counting Bam out, and I wouldn't count Bam out, so that could throw a little drama there in the end.
QB1 coming up with Irvin is walking to South Bend, and then
he's got to be looking at
Brett
shots
Venable.
Right now.
That's Brett Venable, the DC in Clemson. I
like that.
That might not be a bad move. He's a hell of a coach.
I'm gonna let you guys go though. I'll check out the rest later. Go Blue.
Go Blue,
JP.
Yep.
Kick him.
Yeah, he's a savant when it comes to Michigan football. I knew he would be able to figure out who I was trying to talk about. But I think Michigan. It's surprising the AP put them at number 2. I'm really shocked after last week's bullshit ranking that had them behind Notre Dame. But you can't disrespect them and put them below anything other than 2. So it's going to be 2. Interesting to me is, does Cincinnati stay at 4? Let's say next week, coming into the next Tuesday, Alabama loses. So how does that play here? Are we going to see Cincinnati stay at 4? Are we going to see possibly Notre Dame?
Well, if Alabama loses, that puts 2 losses on this year for them.
Yeah, they're done. I can't imagine the committee.
I think they're going to be in the. I don't think you still have Oklahoma. You still have Oklahoma.
It's Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Yeah, you still have Oklahoma State there, and they're in the conversation. You still have Notre Dame in that conversation too. This year, right here, because so going into what my feelings are, my views are when it comes to the 4th selection. Georgia's going to take care of business. Georgia's going to be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
If Michigan takes care of business, I mean, like we all think they should, and we hope they should, they would still stay at number 2. If Alabama loses, they put them at 2 losses. I don't even think Alabama's in the discussion for the top 4. I could be wrong, but I mean, I've seen them always find a way to make it in. I always see
there's definitely a bias. Sorry, QB1. There is an SEC bias, no doubt about it.
I honestly, I think Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati would probably come in at 3. And number 4. I mean, you're looking at Oklahoma State, or you're looking at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's done for the year. They got 1 loss, and it was against Cincinnati. So it's definitely going to be tricky. I mean, I would like to see Michigan number 2 spot and potentially play a Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a great matchup actually for both teams as well.
Well, you're going to find out. You're going to find out how real Cincinnati is.
Yeah.
And
Randall comes in. Alabama loses close game. Alabama loses bad, different results. That's true. If it's a close game against Georgia, if Georgia only beats them by maybe a touchdown or a field goal or 10 points or something like that, I still see them making a case for Alabama to stay in the top 4. Believe me, and that's the way it is. But then again, you also think of this, and Randall comes up with another great point that just popped in. Nick Saban, sometimes he gets that team playing a lot better when their backs are against the wall. And I agree with that. So I mean, this is definitely going to be interesting. And another comment comes in here, says the weekend will be epic. It'll be surprise team to get the 4th final. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, now
these comments are flooding in like crazy. Why does Jasper look and sound like he's flying to the moon? Because I am flying to the fucking moon. That's why. Thanks, Joe Yaman. Let me take this off. Let me put Joe up there. Thanks, Joe, for watching. We appreciate it.
Don't count out Baylor.
Well, I mean, and you look at this right here. Derek brings up another one. Notre Dame and both OSUs, meaning Oklahoma State and Ohio State, are looking in now. If Alabama wins, then it screws everything up. Possibly 2 SEC teams, which is not uncommon because SEC is just on another level than anybody else. If Michigan lost, then Ohio State might get the nod. Yes, I would think that they would get probably the nod over Michigan, just because the simple fact is, if you had to rank them, they would probably be a better 2-loss team. That's the way that they look at it. Not necessarily I agree with it, but I see that's how it would be. Yes, Joe, and you are right. Notre Dame is looking for a coach, and Bill's going to be very upset.
We were just talking to him about the disrespect that Brian Kelly got in South Bend, which
you know what? Fuck Brian Kelly. I can't stand him.
He's a big crybaby. I mean, so is Harbaugh, but hey.
I'll tell you, the worst move he's going to make is moving to LSU. It's going to be the worst move he makes.
Well, he's going to be under more scrutiny there than he was at Notre Dame. It'll be on a different level.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Saturday is going to be awesome. The story will be pretty much written. Come Sunday morning, we'll know kind of the idea of what's going to happen. Baylor's played great football. That's going to be 8-7 Oklahoma State. That game's going to have a lot. I think Notre Dame is going to get penalized at this point for not being in a conference, not having another game to play like the Big Ten did years ago. Because there's going to be
Well, didn't last year they played ACC last year?
They
didn't
played
they,
in
just
the
so
ACC.
they could play?
I mean, because it was shortened season, so they guarantee a full season. That's what they did. But this is going to be an example as to why Notre Dame needs to, stop being so damn greedy. Pick a conference. Go to the Big Ten. The Big Ten network pays really well. So,
Yeah,
but
you guys can have Rutgers. You can have Maryland back. You can have
But
all
think
that.
about it. Think about it. You put Notre Dame in the Big Ten West, which to me is trash. That kind of levels the playing field out a little bit, compared to the dominance of the East. So
yeah, you're right. But you know what though? They don't want that because they get that non-conference money through their TV endorsements and everything like that.
Notre Dame Broadcasting Company, NBC. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. I was looking, actually, had like a NCAA dream scenario, and it might have been my dream scenario too, having Notre Dame leap up to number 3, Michigan at number 2, and they play in the first round of the CFP. Like, that would be a ratings bonanza, something you could really market. But I still think Michigan would handle Notre Dame soundly, but who knows? But Saturday's going to be good.
Dan, this comment right here came up from QB1. He said, "Fuck Brian Kelly. He's in the same division. Saban, Kiffin, Mike Leach, Brian Harbison, Jimbo Fisher. He's about to get a coaching lesson. He's maybe 5th or 6th best coach in the West." And I am not disagreeing with you. I tell you right now, I couldn't stand Brian Kelly when he was here. It was Central Michigan.
Yeah,
I couldn't stand him at Central.
He's got that snarly little voice.
I know. And Joe, I know what you're saying. Rutgers and Maryland are for TV revenue because it's the population. I get it, and that's where the Big Ten's going to get their draw and everything like that.
Yep.
And then you got another one. Brian Kelly's a scumbag and a killer. So it's safe to say everybody who's watching right now can agree that we hate Brian Kelly.
He's a killer.
I guess he is. Let Notre Dame stay independent. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, we're getting a lot of comments here. Let Notre Dame stay independent with the Power 5 conferences and all others get bigger. There are a few open spots to play. No conference. Let them play the service academies and other non-power teams get what they deserve. You know what? And that was a punk-ass move for them to say, you know what, we're not going to play Michigan anymore. Now they want to crawl back in there because they probably realized how much money they were losing by not having that game. So my personal opinion, fuck them.
I don't disagree.
So moving on, we'll talk about the other Michigan team.
Moving on.
I mean, Michigan State came out in snowball. It looked like the flashes on the television. It sounded like they were playing a sea of snow because Notre Dame or Penn State was wearing their own white.
Yeah,
but,
come on.
They handled business.
Punk ass Franklin, who didn't want Michigan wearing all maize a couple weeks ago, pitched a fit, but shows up at this game wearing all whites in a fucking blizzard.
You know what?
That guy, if there's a coach out there that's worse than Brian Kelly, it's fucking Franklin from Penn State. He's a punk. 10 more years. Penn State deserves that. Idiots.
They must love him.
Stupid.
That was the decade game that they called it. They had both coaches to sign 10-year contract extensions.
Stupid.
But it was a good game. It was a close game. Michigan State pulled it off. I mean, kudos to them. But I mean, I would have never thought in a million years, back in August when we were talking college football, that we'd be talking on the 29th of November, this day, which is, by the way, our 50th episode. 2 more episodes, and I mean that's number 52. So it equals out to 1 show a week. So we're getting close to our 1-year anniversary. But I would have never imagined in my wildest dreams that we would be sitting here talking that both teams had more than 10 wins, and they both had very successful seasons. I mean, who would have thought that? A lot of people didn't have Michigan doing what they did, and there's a lot more people that didn't have Michigan State doing what they're doing.
No, I think there was more
kudos
people.
To both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I put
kudos
on the notes
to both
here.
Of them.
if there was any doubt if that contract for Mel Tucker was worth it, they just got frog stomped in Columbus the week before, and they came back in the snow, and he had them boys ready to play. You know, they played their ass off, and at the college level, a loss like that could be, you know, debilitating. That didn't happen there. You know, Mel had them working, and it's going to be really fun to see the recruiting battles, the battles between Michigan State, Ohio State. It's with Mel Tucker. I think him coming on board only makes the Big Ten better, and he's going to basically give more drive to the other teams to, you know what, we got another dog in the race, so we better be careful because he's already started. He got the running back from Wisconsin. He's already committed, which I think is bullshit that these players enter the transfer portal before the season's technically over. I don't agree with that, but.
Well, I'll tell you one guy who probably needed to hit the transfer portal before the end of the season, and that's Spencer Rattler. But that we're going to say that we're going to table that another day. We do have a couple more comments in here. Here's one to even show you right now. Derek chimed in on here and said all 5 in-state teams are bowl eligible. You know, we do have to get back to some historians to find out when that ever happened all together at the same time again. But you know, that's good. You know, Randall Cunningham, QB1 comes in and says he's got a proud photo of James Franklin giving him the bird. He's a piece of trash, and he covered the worst thing he could at Vandy. Yep. And then George comes in with another one, Tucker's coming, and a good running back from Georgia Tech. And if I'm not mistaken, I read that he also has all 4 years of eligibility left. So good for them.
Yeah, I'm a little burned out on the Tuck is coming comment because he's already here. But yeah, he's proven his ability to pull players out of the transfer portal. Let's see how he does in the state of Ohio. You look at Michigan's success, and what's been the one caveat for them? They've been able to pull recruiting Ohio. Michigan got Eric All from Ohio. He's got some pretty good guys on the team right now that are from the state of Ohio. You can recruit well in Ohio and pull guys out of that state. You're doing okay. That's going to be a big factor in his success. Sure, you can use the portal, and he's proven to be probably one of the best, if not the best, coach in the country to be able to do that. Look at Kenny Walker, who is, in my opinion, should win the Heisman Trophy, but that probably won't happen. But anyways, that's going to be the key. So it does nothing but make the Big Ten, specifically the Big Ten East. I'm sorry, I put them up against the SEC West any day. Sorry, I do, because I mean, I just think that there's been more and more kids staying close to home, and we're benefiting that. And
it depends on where they lined up and played their games. If they're playing up in Michigan in November, I would take a Michigan team, or I would take a Northern team.
Well, we were watching the game in here Saturday, and somebody made a good comment. I don't know if it was us in here or it was on TV. Let's see how those SEC boys do in a game like was played Saturday. Snow flurries, had some wind.
It was green.
Yeah, like those kids are used to, warm and sunny, rainbows and unicorns down there in the farms and whatnot. And how will they match up? Let's get some of these SEC kids. Let's do. Hey, instead of Alabama playing Mercer in the middle of the season, come up to Michigan and play Michigan in the snow, or play Ohio State in the snow, or Penn State at them. Let's see how they perform when the elements are a huge factor. You really got a game plan for that, not just the other team.
Yeah, one of the questions came up. We kind of touched on it a little bit already on this, Derek. They said if Notre Dame was to go to the Big Ten, would they be placed in the West? Absolutely, they would be. Yeah, from a geographical standpoint, yeah, you'd want to have them in the West. Not only that, though, it would bolster that West, that Big Ten West conference up some, because look at who's the representative this year. They got 4 losses. Yeah. So and then George comes back and says the Big Ten is a power conference. SEC doesn't play well like dude. Yeah, that is that is one of the glaring differences between the two is, where the Big Ten guys are playing at compared to where the SEC teams are playing at. Obviously, weather does play a huge factor in certain games. Not all games, but it's the ability to adapt and overcome.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, since we're on this football kick or whatever, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because I think we really know the fate and the future of the organization. But, we're looking at an 0-10-1 Detroit Lions. Again, another close game that they lose. They at the beginning of the game, to start the game off, they had a couple great flashes. Goff didn't look terrible. Then again, you look at what he has to work with, and he's doing what he can. I mean, he's got guys they're not speedsters, they're not getting on the field. It's just kind of one of those things that you look at, you're like, God, I wish we could get him guys that can run and get some separation between himself and the corners and catch the ball. This year it's just not going to happen for him this year.
I think we all knew coming in. Don't get your hopes up. I mean, preseason there was people saying, "Oh, they're going to get 7 wins. They're going to get not a chance, not a chance." You look at like the guys on this team that are supposed to be big play makers. T.J. Hawkinson, he looks completely lost out there. I don't know what his deal is. Between him, it just seems like they're not targeting him at all. They don't trust him. He's making bonehead plays on the field, a lot of holding calls. He's been non-effective. And here's my other problem.
Yeah, but here's the thing: do you think maybe the reason why he's been effective or ineffective for us is because the fact that we don't really have anybody on the outside, so they can't afford to cover him more exclusively, and play man coverage on the outside?
You would hope that he would be able to make the adjustments, this being his 3rd year, and he was hyped up beyond in the offseason. Great players make great plays. And
there you go.
You would expect him to come out and make plays.
This is my answer right here. Goff is hurt bad, and Coach Campbell protected him with this play. Yeah, he did. Of course he did. But because you don't have a backup, you're not going to trot Boyle out there. Everybody's like, oh, put David Blau in, put David Blau. At the end of the day, Dan Campbell still wants to win a game. He still wants to get in there. He still wants to grind out a game. He wants to get that W. Is it going to happen this year? I don't know. I don't. I think maybe Atlanta might be probably their only hope. I would think. But I think that I can't sit here and say that I'm happy with what they're doing, because nobody would be happy with being 10-1. Tom's gone. His phone.
Gotta plug my phone in.
There you go. Yeah. But it's just kind of one of those things where you look at it and you say, I'm going to take him right off the screen. Yeah, it's just, you got to look at it. Is he there? No, we ain't there yet. Yeah, you have to see what you got, but then also you look at it from another perspective, is that you can't you can't make those.
I'm back.
I'm lost for words right now. Hey, you're back on. Yeah, I'm lost for on words because the calling has been terrible. Now he's in sole possession of that play card.
Yeah,
it's like,
which is
what are you doing?
So you look back the last 2 weeks or the 3 weeks. Swift back-to-back 100-yard games, albeit Jamal Williams was out injured. Jamal Williams comes in, and he was the main back. He was the focal back, it seemed, in the offense in the first quarter. How do you take a guy out of the lineup that is pretty much the only one carrying you? For the better part of the last 3 weeks, he's dominating on the ground, giving you the only chance you have, and you took him out of the offense. It's just what Dan Campbell is trying to accomplish by taking over the call playing. I wouldn't want him to call plays for South Lyon. That's the bottom line. He doesn't have the experience. You took that away from a coach who's been an offensive coordinator. He's been a head coach for several years, and then you think that you can do a better job. I mean, it's stupid. You took any thought or any ounce of them winning a game, you threw it in the trash.
Yeah, and Joe chimed in or whatever. I'm gonna pop this back up on the screen again. But yeah, Campbell's in-game blunders are worse than Caldwell's. Granted, I'm a big fan of the aggressiveness that he showed at the beginning of the year because he was clawing towards it. He was trying to get that win. He was just, 4th and 1, 4th and 2. Hey, we're gonna go for it. We're gonna play like a possessed madman. That's cute for the first couple of times, but when it's really, you can settle for a field goal here and there. If you look at it, he could have, he could have won a game or, 2, but you never know.
Yeah. I mean,
this is a fun show today because we got a lot of people. It's absolutely no playmakers. So there's no confidence in any OC. You can't blame for wanting to try anything. Yeah, I mean, I think that he could probably open the playbook up a little bit more, but he hasn't. Another comment, trying his best with what he has, seems the locker room respects him, which is huge. Yeah, he had. I don't think he's lost. I don't think that he's lost the locker room by any means, because it shows on the field because every game they fight. You lose by 3 points. I mean, that's a play here and there. There's a play here or there. That's why they gave him a 6-year contract.
My biggest
they knew
thing
it wasn't going to happen.
My biggest problem here was that opening drive they had. They looked good. Goff looked good. He was getting good protection. He got the ball down the field. The Reynolds had a really nice touchdown. That was it. We didn't see that until midway through the fourth quarter, and by that point, it didn't really do anything. But they had something, and they didn't capitalize on it. That's inexperience and bad coaching. Not letting your players, not putting your players in a position for them to succeed. And
but you don't have the depth. You don't have the depth.
No, but you found something that was working. They were picking apart the secondary, and they went away from it. They completely went away from it.
Yeah. On the first drive of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 drives of the game. Yeah. You don't think that they didn't change their defensive scheme to manage that?
It didn't seem like the plays were going anywhere to that. They didn't go back to Reynolds until the fourth quarter.
Because he probably got double covered. He probably got covered. I bet you they tightened up on. Dude, every NFL team or any college team, they always go out
they make adjustments.
They practice and orchestrate. Their first 2 drives are so scripted.
Yeah, but when you're 0-9 and 1 going into that game, you got to find something. You got to run with it. You got to at least keep.
But you also cannot put your team at risk by losing your quarterback by doing something dumb, because you don't have anybody else behind him.
No.
All right.
I just think it's very vanilla, very, very.
It's vanilla because that's what you have.
Yeah.
You ain't got Rocky Road ice cream out there. You got vanilla. You got fake ass ice milk out there. You don't even have real ice cream out there. It's vanilla. Vanilla.
And the sad
ice.
thing is, I think the defense played
vanilla
well.
Ice.
They had a nice game. They got the.
Hey George, will you please give me a thumb up if you agree with me what I'm saying? Because obviously, Thomas isn't PlayStation Madden.
I don't play that anyway, so.
Derek comes up and says, watching Goff play is like watching Glass Joe and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
He's got a point.
Yeah.
He's got a point. Yeah. You know what? He busts through if you play him right. He can get you to Mike Tyson. Just got to play him right.
Anytime you want to play Madden, you can come over and we'll put it on the TV. We'll play it. So anyway, you know what? The Lions are a huge disappointment this year. Michigan State's been a great pleasure to have. Michigan has been a great pleasure to have. the Detroit Red Wings. Their rookies are an absolute thrill to watch. Hands down, Sider and Raymond, hands down. I honestly think that Lucas Raymond would be it's still early, though. It should be a Calder. He's got to continue still playing pretty strong and everything like that.
The goal he scored in overtime?
Yes, nice.
That was nice.
What's this comment right here? Who's the skinny dude? There's
no
skinny dude in here. There ain't no skinny dude in here.
That must be. He must be talking about you.
I don't know how you can see that. But, yeah, no. So, Raymond, he's playing great. So, I think he's got 21 points in 22 games already on the year so far. He
9 goals.
He surpassed Tim Stutzel and Alex Lafreniere point total from last year already, and it took him 59 games to get there, and Lucas Raymond's at 22. So,
and what's Lafreniere doing this year?
What's that?
What's Lafreniere doing this year?
Nothing. Yeah, him and Stutzel, but the Senators really aren't much anything. The Senators general manager came out saying, "We're done rebuilding. It's time to win." And it's like, well, you still got a lot of ways to go. So,
like the Rangers, like the Texas Rangers, who
do
scored?
Hey, do I sound bad in here? Because somebody's saying that you're the man on the moon.
Your audio is. It sounds like you're on a 1983 Sony Walkman.
Oh, good. That's what I want. Because I want this show to be retro. So hold on here. So let's go on here real quick here. So George says, Raymond is so good. Once again, Detroit coach doing great. Blashill gets no respect. And the only way Blashill is going to get respect is if he makes it to the playoffs.
We'll ask George. We'll ask George tomorrow. We'll ask George tomorrow in the OC about if there's any movement on some of these young rookies in their cards. Yeah, I noticed that the last time we did a remote, you sounded like you were.
Am I better? Am I better now?
That's a lot better.
Okay. All right.
What'd you do?
So I fixed it, I think. Now, okay, am I echoing everybody or no? Do I sound better?
You sound better, more clear.
Okay. So anyway, okay, yeah, so Derek said yes. Just walk over, it might sound better. It's easier said than done, George. So anyway, 100% better now. Okay, great. Thank you. Now I'm using the mic that's on the MacBook instead of using my
That's weird.
Quality
it's weird
sound.
that sounds better.
What's that?
Man, that's weird that sounds a lot clearer than your what, you got JBLs in your ear?
Yeah, I got JBLs in. So anyway, so yeah, that's I'm really looking forward to the next couple of years. We still have these guys locked up for a little while. Nedeljkovic is playing his ass off. We actually have three players who could contend for the Calder. You got Nedeljkovic. You do have
he's
Raymond.
He's still considered a rookie, isn't he? Because
yes,
he made his debut in the playoffs.
Well, no, he did. He made his debut in the regular season, but he did not play more than 25 games, so he still eligible. So the guys are making fun of me here. They're calling me, asking me who Skinny is. So I don't know if Joe Yemen is still on or whatever. So yes, I have been losing weight, and I did do my weigh-in today. So I'm down. So I did my gaining it. I did my weigh-in today, and I lost 12 pounds since I started. So since October 25th till today, I've lost 12 pounds. So you can't see it because I got all this beard here. I'm not shaving it off.
He's got his lumberjack look still, but
yeah,
that might lose another like 4.
Yeah,
he'd lose about 4 more if he trimmed that.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he says that was Barwig that was asking. So yeah, that was Don Barwig. But yeah, just if anybody's in the South Lyon area, I highly recommend going to Lionheart Fitness. I mean, that's probably one of the most encouraging, positive places to go and work out, and you actually get shown how to do things the correct way. And I do these workouts, and these workouts are a half hour long, and you feel like you're going to die when you get done, but then you feel, you're fine after that. But it's worth it. Onward and upward. So I still have for my personal goal, I still have 38 pounds more to go. So I think I can do it. I don't want to lose it all at one time. So I've been very strategic about how I go about it.
Yeah, but you're going to fall off the wagon next week from Friday. So just one day.
No, what I got? I said I got to have how many? I got to have at least 4.
You got to have at least 4. That shouldn't be a problem. In 3 hours, you can do it.
Let's do this.
Whatever works.
Toss the salt.
Get poured.
So we got a lot of bright spots when it comes to Detroit sports. We also have 2 not so great. The Lions being the first one. The second one is the Pistons really haven't panned out like I had hoped they were going to pan out. But what I do like is I do like seeing the fire in the Pistons against the Lakers. LeBron James, what can I say? He's a bitch. Always be a bitch. It's never the Los Angeles Lakers, or it was never the Miami Heat, or it was never the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was always LeBron James and the Lakers, or LeBron James and the Cavaliers. Don't get me wrong. He's probably one of the best. He's probably one of the greatest basketball players of all time. I still think that Jordan is the best player of all time, but that
hands down.
That might be me being part of my my age.
No,
I think Isaiah Thomas
Jordan.
was a great. I think Isaiah Thomas was probably better than him too back in the day. Not Jordan, but
underrated. The most underrated point guard probably in the history of the NBA, Isaiah Thomas.
So he goes on. I think everybody probably knows. I don't know if we talked about it on the last show or not. They're lining up. They're going for a loose ball. He turns around. He cracks
Isaiah
Stewart. Cracks him in the face. Blood coming down everywhere. Stewart went ape shit. Do I blame him? Nope, not at all. I don't blame him at all for going ape shit. I wish when he first looked at him and confronted him about it before he realized that he was going to start pouring blood down his face, he should have knocked LeBron James on his ass.
What I want to know is
that'd have been good for the Pistons, and it'd also be good for the league.
What was said that triggered him? That's what I want to know, because it seemed like after it happened, they were kind of just sitting, and all of a sudden he lost his mind.
I honestly don't think that anything was said to him. I honestly think that it was because that he had gotten cut over the eye, around the eye area, and that blood started coming down. Sometimes
it was a mess.
You see that everybody reacts different. Normally people see blood, they're like, holy shit, or whatever. Some people, it just enrages them. It enraged him, and he went crazy. But then, so they played last night.
But the other day, LeBron was calling around trying to get Isaiah's number because he wanted to apologize, and apparently Stewart was like, "Get bent. I don't want your apology." And which I'm all for that. He's a bad man. He's a beef stew. They call him that for a reason. So.
Yeah,
but they played last night.
So they played last night or whatever, and they're playing. I'm going to show this clip. This is just crazy right here.
Got to get a stop. 10 on the clock. Oh, LeBron James. Point blank.
Like, what are you doing, man?
But you know what?
What the hell are you doing?
Sadiq got up, wiped his face, never came out of the game. They are tough. The Lakers came out of the third quarter on a 16-0 run. Game was over. Detroit didn't have a prayer in the world. They battled back. They cut it to within 3 late, a little bit too late in the fourth, but they had a chance to maybe even come back and tie it. They're missing one little piece, and it's a shame because I think in order for them to get that, they're going to lose Jeremy Grant, who was consistently scoring close to 20. I believe he had 30 last night. You want to talk about an underrated player, Jeremy Grant. He's the kind of the leader on the floor. But Kate Cunningham, he's got to, they say to get out of a shooting slump, you got to keep shooting. He's got to hit his shots, and he's missing bad, and he's taking a lot of bad shots. But I think that comes with his inexperience. He didn't play a lot in college, so I like his upside. But Dwayne Casey's got them playing very hard and very competitive. I think they showed in the fourth quarter they can get points by driving the lane. They're super athletic, and then when they need to, they got Morris Day on the point, aka Frank Jackson. Here, check him out. He looks like Morris Day at the time with that horn stash. He's pretty good from the three, and he can drive the lane. So this team has talent. It just has to develop. And I like Dwayne Casey as their coach. I like the fact that they went down big in the third quarter last night and didn't give up. And they're missing Kelly Olynyk in the middle there, who gives them some size and ability to shoot. You can stretch that defense, but it's going to take some time. And in comparison to the Lions, there's more upside with the Pistons than the Lions.
Yeah, for sure,
in my opinion. So, but I've got a what here. It's interesting.
Yeah, let's hear
it. So, do you ever get a letter jacket when you were in high school?
I never made a varsity sport, so no.
Yeah, either did I. Well, there's a guy in Arizona. Apparently, he's graduated a year before me in '94, and he was a letterman, and he put his order in for his jacket, and unfortunately, he couldn't afford it. His mom couldn't afford the coat, so it kind of just got brushed aside. And you ever wonder, if they don't pick up the coat, whatever happens to it? I don't know. Well, apparently, 28 years later, his brother's in the thrift store, and he sees his alma mater. Like, what the heck? And then he sees the year. He's like, oh, that's the year my brother graduated. And then he sees his name. It's a very odd name. I forgot to put it down. But so he called his brother. He said, hey, was there any, it was like Stewie or something. It's like, there's any Stewies that graduated with you? And he's like, nah, I was the only one. He goes, well, I'm sitting here at this thrift store, and I think your letter coat is here. And sure as shit, his brother buys it, brings it to him, and it was the exact coat that he had ordered 28 years prior, but couldn't afford. It was $300 to $400, and in 1994, his brother picks it up at a bargain rate of $28.
A
28 years later,
year, huh?
So 28 years later, he was awarded with this letter jacket. I thought that was kind of a sports related what, and I thought that was cool. Kind of a cool story. What are the odds? And it wasn't even in the same town either. Like, what are the chances that his brother's running around, going through these thrift stores, and he sees something that belonged to his brother back in high school? It's a cool story.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, hey, on that note or whatever, we're up against time, and it's perfect time. So, Thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking. Hey, thanks everybody for the interactions. It was great. We love the comments. We love the back and forth. Again, maybe we'll get something on maybe Friday or Sunday at the latest.
Yeah. Big game Saturday. Go Blue. Go Blue. Yep. We're gonna find out what this college football playoff is gonna end up looking like, and going to be a fun weekend. Then Monday, wheels up to Key West.
There you go, man. There you go. All right, man.
We'll see y'all later.
See you.